We're going to take a look at the Backstage area in Excel. It's something new in 2010, and talk about the two primary functions you'll perform back there, and look at the ribbon again, the expanding and contracting nature of the ribbon, how it resizes itself to the screen size that you have on your monitor, and take a look at the contextually driven tabs that show up depending upon what objects are selected in your worksheet area. We talked about the ribbon in the last movie and the 8 tabs that are a component of the ribbon. One of the tabs, the File tab, is distinctly different than the other 7, and it's different for a reason. When I left-click that File tab, I get to an area in Excel called the Backstage area. This area is really different than where we just came from, which was within the workbook. We are now outside of the workbook in the Backstage area, and there's two primary functions that you'll be performing back here. One is you'll be working with your files. You're going to be opening your files, saving your files. You're going to be saving your file as something other than, in this case, Book 1, which is a meaningless name for probably most people. You're going to open up your files that you've saved before, and you're going to close files that you're currently working on. There are many other things that you can do regarding your file, your workbook, and we'll talk about all of those things in subsequent movies. The other thing you can do back here is change the default settings for Excel. There are numerous ways to change many things about Excel in the way it functions, the functionality, the way it appears, the way it presents information. So those are the two primary things that you'll do back here is work with your files and change Excel settings. So this is the Backstage area. I'm going to go back inside the workbook by clicking any one of these tabs. We'll do it. I'll click the Home tab. The other thing I want to show you is the ribbon will change its appearance based on the size it has to actually display itself. If I grab the title bar and pull it down, we see the ribbon has contracted down to show fewer commands than it did before, and as I grab the side and manually contract it, the ribbon continues to contract and condense, reduce the size of the commands, and even show fewer commands and convert the command groups to drop-down menus. So in this way, the ribbon will expand and contract to best fit the size it has to display itself within. The last thing I want to show you is that the ribbon, by default, has 8 tabs. Those are changeable, and we'll get into a movie where you can see how you can completely customize the ribbon. But for the time being, I want to show you that there are also other tabs that will show up that are standard tabs, and they will show up by default based on what object you're selecting down in your worksheet area. Right now we have a clip art that's showing. It's not selected, but I'm going to select it. And when I do that, we'll see a tab display, the Picture Tools tab, which is only a Format tab. When I go up and select that, I see command options in command groups that have to do with changing the style or the format of this clip art object that I have selected. There are 19 special tabs that will show up depending upon what object you are working within or what object you have activated or selected down in your worksheet area. It can include clip art like we see here, smart art, charts, pivot tables, pictures. There are several other things that will activate some standard ribbon tabs that will enable you to manipulate the object that you've selected. So we introduced the Backstage area where you can work with your files and you can also change some default option settings with Excel. We also looked at the expanding and contracting nature of the ribbon and how it will resize itself and customize the view that you have based on the space it has available within the size of your monitor. We also took a look at one of the 19 special tabs that will appear based on what object you have activated and selected in your worksheet area.